Welcome back to the Montgomery Companies podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Montgomery, and today we're going to do a little solo episode action. You get yours truly. We're going to share some thoughts on a very important and underrated topic as it comes to personal growth and development. But before we go there, I want to make a couple of shout outs, just share some quick thank yous with people that we care about. We did our Lead the Way event recently with a special guest, John Gordon and Jade Gordon in Iowa City. Did it on May 13th. It was a Friday. It was a 2-hour event. We had some top community leaders there, a bunch of the sports programs at the University of Iowa. And John Gordon gave a keynote on the power of positive energy that rocked the room at the Hyatt in Coralville. So thank you, John. Thank you, Jade, for visiting our community, for spending time with the people that we care about. We had 600 people attend that event, and it was a huge win. Special shout out to our sponsors, Van Meter, West Bank, Northwestern Mutual, Green State Credit Union, McGrath Auto, and the Hyatt in Coralville, Iowa. Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for your sponsorship. Thanks also to John Choate, James Roth at Storyline Multimedia for capturing that entire event. It was a home run, and we'll do another event very soon. We're excited to announce the next upcoming live event with Montgomery Companies. Also want to remind you that if you're interested in our coaching work, individual coaching, group coaching, our mastermind class, if you'd like to hire somebody on our team to deliver a keynote speech at one of your next conferences or one of your next events, we'd love to serve you to impact your organization and to learn more about how we could come alongside you to create impact. Check us out, www.montgomerycompanies.com. You can visit our team and our work via social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We would love to know more about how we can serve you moving forward. Today, we're going to talk about the underrated and undervalued topic of self-awareness. If I were to give today's session a title, I would title it Supersized Self-Awareness. John Maxwell has a new book out. It's called The Self-Aware Leader. And I want to share a quote from John Maxwell that I absolutely love. It resonated with me, made me reflect on my journey and how I've been working on my self-awareness. And Lord knows I've got a ton of work to do. Quote from John Maxwell: "The first lesson I've learned in coaching people is that people do not realistically see themselves. Most of us do not have an ability to see ourselves, especially as others see us. But what's interesting is we have an ability to see others." Isn't there so much truth to that? That for me, it's sometimes difficult and hard for me to see myself, to assess my own blind spots, or even to recognize my own gifts. Yet I've got an innate ability to assess the blind spots of others. I can easily point out where somebody else is gifted or where they're falling short, but I struggle to assess my own strengths and my own weaknesses. I define self-awareness this way: the ability to recognize and understand your moods, emotions, and drives, as well as their effect on others. Socrates said, "To know thyself is the beginning of wisdom." And John Maxwell said, "The hardest person to lead is yourself." When we coach with executive leaders, professional athletes, people who are really having a lot of impact, they're great with people. They have strong habits. They're committed to professional growth and development, to personal growth and development. A hallmark trait is they're self-aware. They're situationally aware, and they're constantly working at increasing their awareness. So I'm going to offer you maybe just some practical applications, some things that you could do in your leadership journey and your personal development journey that might help you grow in your awareness. The good news, all of these practical tips are easy to implement. You could do them today. It's not going to cost you anything. They're free, but it will require you to spend some time and energy. Number one, if you're going to work on your self-awareness, you got to get feedback from people who know you well. I think one thing that's common among top performers in multiple industries, life in general, is they surround themselves with people who are not impressed by them. In other words, they surround themselves by people who are willing to give honest and direct feedback. They don't just surround themselves with these people, they ask questions often, they seek feedback from these people, consistently. It's been said feedback is the breakfast of champions. Think about it. It's the one thing that most people would say is critically important to their personal development journey, yet most people would also say they're not getting enough of it. If you're going to get feedback from the people around you, make sure you ask specific questions. Specific questions leads to specific feedback. Make sure you pay attention where there is tension. Lean into it. If there is tension, it might mean that there's something you need to hear. There might be something that's hitting a nerve. You don't like it. Somebody shares feedback with you that isn't pleasant, but it might be helpful. It might be constructive to your growth and development. So get feedback. Make it a priority. Schedule time with people who know you well. Ask specific questions and pay attention where there's tension. Number 2, get some 360 feedback. What is 360 feedback? For those of you that haven't done this, if you would like anonymous feedback as an aid to your growth and development, I would encourage you to deploy 360 feedback. You won't like the actual activity of 360 feedback. You won't like the actual process, but you'll be thankful for it. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to take a survey. There's a bunch of them online. Just Google 360 feedback. There's a bunch of free online resources that you could dive into. You can actually create your own questions, and you can decide to ask specific questions to stakeholders or people who know you well, some of your peers, friends, colleagues. Send out an anonymous survey. Send it to 10 people, 20 people. Create specific questions. Send it out to people who know you well and get some real feedback. What's the benefit of 360 feedback in growing your awareness? The benefit is you're going to get the truth. I remember as a young leader, I started speaking and I was speaking at a large corporate event. I had an executive leader approach me right after I walked off the stage. And this executive leader was at first complimentary. And I think we've been there, where you get the compliments first and, hey, I thought that was great. And you did a good job here, but you know what's coming, right? Here comes the gut punch. Like I knew it was coming. And after he gets done sharing a couple compliments, he says, but the thing is, I heard very little of what you said, Jordan. You talk way too fast. I remember receiving that feedback and immediately becoming defensive. I actually kind of just took that feedback and threw it in the proverbial trash can. I didn't listen to it. I didn't pay attention to it. In fact, it irritated me and I sort of wrote that guy off. I thought, you're from a different generation. You don't get it. I'm a millennial. I know how to communicate. You're just not hearing me because you listen a different way. I wasn't hearing the truth. A year later, I'm in a leadership program. Part of the program was going through a 360 feedback exercise. You had to get real feedback from people who know you well. 9 out of 10 people in my 360 survey said, as it relates to my communication, that I speak way too fast. It hit me right between the eyes. I wasn't willing to hear it when it came from this leader who shared his opinion, but I was willing to hear it when it was black and white, plain truth. You speak too fast. So as a leader, make sure you're getting feedback. Go through a 360 analysis. Get 360 feedback. That'd be my second recommendation. And then this is a really simple recommendation, but if you're in the people business, if you're in the connection relationship business, if you're an attorney, if you're a real estate agent, you're a financial advisor, you're an entrepreneur, you're in the business of connecting and working with other people, I'm going to recommend that you record your communication. If you want to grow in your awareness, record your communication. Record the way that you interact with the world around you. Pay attention to how you listen. Pay attention to your posture. Pay attention to your tonality. Pay attention to the way that you tell stories. Here's the reality of our awareness as it relates to our communication. We often overestimate our ability to communicate. It's one area of our personal growth and development where we desperately need, all of us, myself included, feedback on how we're showing up. I need feedback on how I'm connecting with the world around me. I'll tell you a quick story. Recently, we had a chance to interview a Division I coach, and this guy gave an interview that went out to the world on national TV, and he had a kind of a phrase that he used repeatedly in his interview, he had these two words, and I've been guilty of using these two words before. The two words were, you know. He kept saying, you know, and then he'd use another sentence. He'd say, you know, I think we did this well, but you know, we didn't do that well. And you know, next time we're going to do this better. So I pulled Coach aside after he gave the interview, and he wanted some feedback on how he was communicating, and he would consider himself to be a gifted communicator. And I said, hey, Coach, I thought it was a decent interview, pointed out some things that he did well. But I said, Coach, there's something that you say repeatedly, and I'm not sure if you noticed that you said it. In fact, I want you to guess. You sent me this 10.5-minute interview. I want you to guess how many times you used this phrase on national television. And he said, I don't know, 10 times, 12 times. I said, what if I told you used the phrase 111 times in a 10.5-minute window? 111 times you said those two words, you know. He said, there's no way. I said, Coach, go back and watch the film. So we watched it. We watched it together. To his credit, he was willing to grow in his awareness. He recorded himself, right? He sent us the recording. We were made aware of the interview. Our team reviewed it. We evaluated it. And now he can see his blind spots. He could face the opportunity. He has an opportunity to work on that phrase and omit that from his communication. Not a huge deal, but it was getting in the way of his ability to connect with other people. The reality is we all have something like that we do. We say there's something getting in the way maybe of your ability to connect, or it's distracting you from how you connect with the world around you. Record yourself. Get some 360 feedback, some anonymous feedback where you can truly feel and see the truth. And then finally, schedule some meetings with stakeholders, with people that know you well. Get real feedback. Ask specific questions that solicit a specific response, and make sure that you pay attention where there's tension. My hope for you is that you would grow in your awareness, that you'd order the book, The Self-Aware Leader from John Maxwell. We all are on a journey of continuous improvement as it relates to our self-awareness, our situational awareness. And I want to let you know that I'm on the journey with you. I've got a lot of work to do myself. I'm in it to win it. I'm in this fight with you each and every day. And I'm growing in my awareness just like you. Hey, if you found value in today's podcast, I would love it if you'd subscribe to our show moving forward. If you might even share this show with a friend, send it to somebody in an effort to help them, in an effort to move our mission of impact forward. It would mean a lot to us if you would be willing to pass this episode or pass this show on to somebody else. I want to say thank you before we sign off to our producers, to John Choate and James Roth of Storyline Multimedia, who do all the work behind the scenes to make this show go. Check us out on social media. Visit our website, montgomerycompanies.com. We'd love to serve you and grow in relationship with you moving forward. God bless. Be well. Have an incredible day.